Happy Friday, September 22nd, 2017. Just got back in from Honolulu, Hawaii yesterday, or last night, or this morning. It was a fantastic trip. I get to sort of compare my two Hawaii experiences, and they were vastly different than one another. For those of you that have gone to either, Oahu, Maui, Kauai, Molokai, and I think the other one's Lanai. No, that's actually on Kauai. But the differences between the two Hawaiis are pretty noticeable. Primarily with the fact that Honolulu itself and Waikiki are they're very, very popular, and there's a lot of people there. And Kauai is a lot more of the sort of laid back, not as busy, not many places to spend money and do stuff like that. Kauai is a lot of, relaxation. There's a lot of lumber rainforest, green areas to do hikes and outdoor stuff. There's kayaking and floating rivers and waterfalls and things like that. It was a lot more relaxing. There's just a lot less people on Kauai. In that aspect, I really enjoyed, and I kind of missed them. Honolulu was extremely busy. There's for those of you who go there, it's for pale faces, such as myself, and I do consider myself Native American, even though it's not as noticeable as in many of the individuals that I work with and work for. But it's one of the parts of my my ancestry that I have clung very close to and hold very dearly to and close to my heart. So I've always considered myself Native American. But going to the islands, especially Honolulu and Oahu, it's the majority of people there are Asian, primarily Japanese, and they bring them in by they do these tours where it's like they get a bunch of Japanese people together for one group, and they all travel together, they all go shopping together, they go everywhere together. So, they take these tour buses and they all go to like Hamburger in Paradise, and then they all go to like Waikiki Beach, and they all go to this or that Hanalei Bay. So there's just a lot of that, and it's very busy. There's a language barrier a lot, especially we had where we stayed. Is a different kind of an elevator system. Basically, whatever floor you're on, before you get in an elevator, you push the floor number you're on, and then it'll tell you which one of the 4 elevators you're going to be going into. And so, that confused a lot of people, especially the Japanese tourists. They pushed a bunch of buttons, and then they got into the first elevator that opened, and they realized that their floor number wasn't the one that was one of the options at that elevator. So they would go all the way up to like let's say they're on like floor 32, they'd go up to 2, 12, 24, 36, and then it would go completely right past their floor, and so it would be very confusing for them. Thankfully for us, we were on the 4th floor, so we didn't have to do a bunch of that up and down stuff in the elevators. But that was sort of confusing there. So shame on Hilton for that. But we got a chance to do so much there. It was awesome. We got to by now, for those of you familiar with Hawaii, by this point, 7 days in Hawaii, I was sick and tired of ABC stores. For those of you that have been there, you can relate and be like, oh yeah, I know what that's like. I know what he's talking about. But for those of you who don't, ABC stores in Hawaii are like Starbucks in Seattle, or a major metropolis or huge city, and they specialize in. It's a lot like a fancier 7-Eleven. They have tourism shirts. They have makeup. They've got the bare necessities of health. Health. They've got like cough medicine and makeup and beauty products, and they've got masubi. They've got snack foods. They've got coffee mugs. They've got tourist, things, the magnets you put on your fridge and all that, and t-shirt. I already said t-shirts, but they have and then they have sandwiches and drinks, and everything there is vastly overpriced, obviously. But it's pretty much anything you could possibly need while you're on vacation that you can't pack with you. They have it there. One of the things I was looking for was a fingernail clipper, because if I don't clip my fingernails, I bite my nails to the point where they bleed. It's just a habit that I've had since I was a kid, and so I found out that the way to get over that and to get past that is to clip them myself so there's nothing to bite, and just keep them short, manageable, and well maintained. And when I let them grow for too long, it just becomes an issue, and I start biting them. So I couldn't find a fingernail clipper for like 4 days. Granted, I wasn't direly looking for one, like it was life and death situation, but it was like any store that I went into, I was looking for one. I just couldn't find one, and my girlfriend knew. And did you go in the makeup section? No. She goes in the makeup section, she finds it right there. Problem solved. Thank you, honey. Appreciate it. I love you. But we did so much while we were there. It was just mom and dad, my girl's parents, did a lot of just relaxation and shopping and just sitting around and taking a break from the normal world that we all live in every day, break up the monotony that we're in. And they did their thing, and we did a lot of hiking. We did the 3 hikes we did. The first day on Saturday we did Koko Crater, which is it had to be, I think it was a military establishment on a mountaintop, and it's on train tracks, and it's very vertical. It's, for those of you that hike in Washington State, it's comparable to a more direct climb which is Mailbox Peak. It's a lot like Mailbox Peak, but with no switchbacks. So it's very vertical. For those of you hiking Washington State and like King Pierce and Snohomish County and all that, Mailbox Peak is one of the more challenging trails you can do. They've recently added a switchback, more of an easy-going backside that you can do, in addition to the more difficult, strenuous classic side. But Mailbox Peak is I forget how much of elevation gain is short amount. It's like 2 miles, and the elevation gain is ridiculous. But for this one, for Koko Crater, it was about 1 mile, and you gain over 1,000 feet. So it was a steady climb. And on that hike, we were doing it. On the way up, we encountered this couple coming down, and they look like just normal tourists. They look like a young couple. They're coming down, nothing noticeable at that point. And then when we went up, we summited the top, had a nice little sandwich, drank I think it's called Limon Pepino Gatorade. It's lemon cucumber, and it was my buddy introduced it to me when we ran Summerland at Mount Rainier National Park, and it's very good and refreshing Gatorade. It's going to be at the top of my list from here on out. It's very good. It's very hard to find, but it's very good. And we drank and ate and all that, and we started going down, and we ran across that same couple, and they had maybe moved 15 to maybe 30 feet. So maybe, they had not moved much. And she was dehydrated, she was red, she was sunburnt, she was cramping up. She was not looking good, and it just looked miserable for the guy. That I was just like, I was saying to him, man, he may have asked his woman to go on something that she was not prepared for, nor could have even anticipated what was ahead of them. Like, some of this got on the hike and went in flip-flops and didn't expect to do what was asked for a normal hiker on that hike, so she was not prepared for that. And so what we did was we gave her some water and gave her my jug of Gatorade, and kind of just told them to take it a step at a time, keep moving, stay in the shade as much as possible, which is very difficult because there wasn't many shading opportunities on that. It's very exposed. The whole thing's pretty much exposed. So I would not doubt if she ended up in the hospital with like heat stroke or something, or dehydration, and had to get IVs put in her. So that was Koko Crater, but the views up there were just phenomenal. Wonderful, beautiful views of just the bay. You can see Hanalei Bay down there, where we would actually snorkel in a few days later. And the next hike we did after that, which was actually my daughter's very first hike as a individual hiker herself. It's a fairly easy touristy trap kind of hike, but it's one of the three that people say that you have to do while you're in Hawaii, and we actually on Oahu, and we did all three of those hikes. So it was Koko Crater, Diamond Head, and Diamond Head was, it's kind of a lot of switchbacks, but you climb up to the top of this peak and you can see, the bay, you can see the lighthouse, you can see some of the towns and schools and all that stuff, and it's a very beautiful view from up top. And my daughter walked, I think she probably walked the majority of that hike. She did a lot of it herself, and so I was a very proud parent, very proud father, and I want to definitely get her out to do more outdoorsy hikes and things of that nature. But we will definitely see. So she did that one, and then just 2 days ago we did Manoa Falls, and which is kind of almost a mile hike into the rainforest, and you come to a very tall waterfall. And when I say, I use the term waterfall loosely because it wasn't much of a waterfall. It was just sort of more of a hydrated drip down a rocky mountain slope. So it wasn't much. It's similar to a lot of the waterfalls in Washington State, aside from Palouse Falls and Snoqualmie Falls. But it was a beautiful hike nonetheless. Very muddy and quite busy. I think Diamond Head was the busiest. Koko Crater was the second busiest, and Manoa Falls was still busy, but it wasn't as busy as the other ones. And also, from the reviews that I read on alltrails.com, people said that they encountered people in white pants with their blaring stereos and smoking cigarettes on the trail. We didn't encounter any of that. So, but it was still quite busy for a hike. Quite similar to those hikes that you come across on the I-90 corridor for those in Washington State. But just the entire time in Hawaii, it was awesome. I slept a lot, stayed busy, got a lot of steps in, I did about between 300 and 600 push-ups a day, and did a lot of swimming, spent time on the beach. Didn't drink much at all. I think I maybe had 3 beers the whole entire time, and it was 3 separate occasions. And it was very relaxing, and I got a taste of Hawaii on more of a, it's more of a busier, developing island opposed to Kauai. Kauai is very natural and sort of disconnected from a lot of the world. It feels like you're in a different country when you're on Kauai. It's very different. But the experience in Maui, or not Maui, but Oahu, was very touristy. A lot of people, but if you found ways if you knew your way around the island, which we eventually kind of got the grasp of, you can maneuver and get away from it and find yourself finding something to do. Like we went snorkeling in Hanalei Bay. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but it's the popular place where you can go there and pay $7.50, get into the park, and then you can go snorkeling and find turtles, and there's so many fish. I think we encountered probably the most fish I've ever seen snorkeling. I snorkeled a few times, but this was the most beautiful clear water, and it did get a lot busier as time went on, because we went early in the morning, but people started showing up, and then the water got kind of muddy from everyone walking on the dirt and the mud. But it was still very beautiful when we got there. But all in all, I would say that the Hawaii vacation this year was awesome. I didn't get sunburnt. Got a lot of sun. I got darker. I don't know if you can tell in this one for the video, but it was a very successful vacation. I think we finished under budget. It was, for those of you who do go to Oahu, you have to rent a car if you want to get away from everything. If you're going to Uber everywhere, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. But if you rent a car, you're going to have to pay for a lot of parking. It's a lot like San Francisco or Seattle. If you do find parking, it's going to cost you. And then at least the hotel, for a nightly parking fee, it's $43 to $50, and so that adds up too. So it'll catch you. But the thing is, we prepared well ahead of time. We save money, we put it aside, we don't even look at it, and then we go on vacation. We don't spend any of our own money, it just comes out of the vacation fund. And then now we're ready for our next vacation. So the flight out there was great. The flight back was a little different. Our daughter was very irritable, just tired, and was tired of being cramped up and put into a car seat, and always having to be told to sit down and stuff. She's always free when she's at daycare. She's running around playing with other kids, doing arts and crafts and things like that. And we couldn't do as much of that as what her daycare does. And so she was just tired. But we're going to get her back on the clock this weekend and get her acclimated to the time zone change. It's just 3 hours behind us in Washington. So that was it. It was a great experience. The hikes were great. Koko Crater was challenging. My girl did it. She did a good job. We didn't get injured. We didn't. We had one little fall. She fell on her hip and kind of landed on her wrist. She's got a little bit of wrist pain, but she's fine. But other than that, it was a very successful, accomplishing vacation, and I feel very refreshed. I'm a little tired today, but because of the time change, and I didn't take Friday off from work. She did, so now she has a 3-day weekend to kind of get adjusted. I didn't. I'm a little tired, but it's just a small price to pay for a week in paradise. It was fun. So I look forward to going back. We're going to Kauai next year, so looking forward to that. And doing a lot more of the things that we didn't get a chance to do the first time in Kauai. More outdoorsy stuff. I want to get out and do more. But other than that, it was a great experience. I had a great time. Had a lot of fun. And if you guys ever have a chance to go to Oahu, feel free to ask me questions. I've got some good ideas, some great locations to hit up, restaurants. If you guys want the best shaved ice, I think it's Matsumoto's. I think that's the one. That's one of the best shaved ice places there. A couple of great restaurants. Let me know if you have any questions about it. It was a great experience for sure. So I hope you guys had a great week. It's good to be back to the grind. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and I will see you guys on Monday.